a digital literacy course.
Yeah.
And maybe even a book series. That's quite the project.
Yeah. Well,
But it makes sense, though, right? I mean, digital literacy is, like, essential these
you're
days.
absolutely right.
It's not really optional anymore.
Not at all. It's the key to like navigating the world.
Yeah, exactly.
And your notes here, they really highlight
Oh, yeah.
how complex digital literacy really is.
Mhm.
It's not just about using a computer
Right.
or knowing how to work a smartphone.
It's bigger than that.
It's so much more.
Yeah.
It's about like critical thinking and being responsible online,
Totally.
understanding how things work.
Okay, so let's break this down. We've got all your notes here,
Mm-hmm.
potential book outlines, even a concept for a multi-volume series.
It's a big idea.
Someone's thinking big.
Yeah.
Like it.
Yeah.
Our mission today is to,
Yeah.
well, we want to pull out the key insights, right?
Absolutely.
To give you a solid foundation in digital literacy
Right.
and maybe even spark some ideas for that course you're developing.
Exactly. And one of the first things that pops out from these materials
Oh, yeah.
is how much you emphasize defining digital literacy.
Right.
Like what it actually is.
Yeah.
You've got two definitions highlighted here.
I do.
The first one is the ability to use digital tools and technologies competently and critically.
Okay.
And the second one is a broad skill set that encompasses the ability to use technology efficiently, evaluate digital content, and engage with online platforms responsibly.
I like them both.
Yeah.
They both really highlight how it's not just about the technical skills, you know.
Clear. Doing that.
It's about navigating the digital world
Mm-hmm.
safely, responsibly, critically.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Speaking of navigating,
Yeah.
your notes break down digital literacy into these key components.
Right.
We've got understanding digital devices, the internet itself, different types of digital media, online safety, communication tools, social
Yeah.
media, and even future trends like AI.
Yeah.
Whoa, that's a lot. It is a lot. And, you know, it highlights how all these things are connected.
Yeah. How so?
Well, for example, you mentioned knowing the difference between an operating system and an app.
Right.
That's more than just like, oh, tech jargon, you know?
Right.
It's about having control over your device.
Oh, okay.
Understanding what's happening behind the scenes.
That makes sense. And when it comes to the internet,
Mm-hmm.
you talk a lot about how important it is to understand how search engines work.
Yeah,
Why is that so important?
because it helps you find good information,
Oh,
accurate information, you know?
makes sense.
It's about being able to tell what's credible,
right.
not
And
just clicking on the first thing you see.
That's so true.
Yeah.
And you know that same critical thinking.
Yeah,
That applies to social media, too.
absolutely.
Your notes point out that it's not just about posting selfies.
It's so much more than that. It's
Yeah.
about managing your online presence
Yeah.
and understanding how algorithms work.
Yeah.
Like, they decide what you see, you know?
Yeah. Social media literacy is about understanding the power dynamics.
Right.
And making good choices about how you're participating.
Interesting. So from what I'm seeing here, it seems like you're thinking of structuring the course to kind of build skills week by week,
Right.
starting with the fundamentals, like
Uh-huh.
how do devices work? How does the internet actually work?
Laying in the groundwork.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then moving into more essential skills like online research,
Oh, yeah.
staying safe from cyber threats.
Definitely important.
Right. Crucial stuff.
Yeah.
And then tackling social media,
Mm-hmm.
the whole landscape of that and how it affects us.
A key part of it all.
And you've even included future trends like AI and the future of work.
Well, you have
Think
to
about being ahead of the curve.
got to stay ahead of the game, right?
Yeah.
It's all about putting things into practice.
Yeah, and you know what else I really like about your outline?
What's that?
The hands-on activities.
Oh, yeah. You know,
Yeah.
you mentioned things like creating strong passwords,
Uh-huh.
evaluating a website's credibility, or even just like designing a simple flyer.
Those are so important
Yeah.
because it's, you know, it's one thing to read about it.
Right.
It's another thing to actually do it.
Totally agree. And, you know, you're thinking of turning all of this into a book series.
Yeah.
The Information Age book series, that's a catchy
I
title.
thought so.
Mastering Media, Digital, and AI Literacy in 8 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Digital literacy, mastering the art of the online world. Media literacy, unpacking the message.
Yeah.
AI literacy, your guide to understanding the future of technology.
Trying to cover it all.
This is like a whole digital literacy library.
Well, this is a big field.
That's true.
A lot to cover.
Okay, let me put on my student hat for a second.
Okay.
Let's say I'm taking your Digital Literacy Essentials course.
Right.
What are some key takeaways,
Mm-hmm.
What would I walk away with?
That's a great question. Well, first of all, you'd really understand the digital landscape.
Okay.
Like how devices and networks and software, all of that, how it shapes our online experiences.
Interesting.
You wouldn't just be able to use a computer.
Yeah.
You'd actually know how it works.
That's cool. What else?
You'd learn how to evaluate information, like critically.
Oh, okay.
Being able to tell fact from fiction, especially online.
That's so important.
No more falling for those clickbait headlines.
Sign me up. Seriously, though, this is all great information.
Thanks.
It really shows how digital literacy, it's like an ongoing process.
It definitely is.
It's not like you just learn it once and you're done,
It's always changing.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like learning a language. You never
Mhm.
really stop learning.
So true. Okay, so you mentioned AI a few times.
I did.
And it's clearly a big part of your vision for this book series.
Yeah.
What makes AI literacy so important specifically?
Well, AI is already everywhere, right? I mean, think about it. It's changing how we work, how we find information.
Yeah.
AI literacy goes deeper than just using the tools.
Okay.
It's about understanding how AI works.
Oh, interesting.
The good, the bad, and how it's like shaping society as a whole.
So it's not just about being tech savvy, it's about being AI savvy.
Exactly. Being informed citizens in this AI-driven world.
Right.
Being able to think critically about the information these AI systems give us.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Understanding the ethics of AI, advocating for its responsible use. I mean,
Wow.
it's like digital literacy 2.0.
It is. It really is like a whole other layer of digital literacy,
Yeah, for sure.
And your book series is not just about catching people up to the present.
Right.
It's like preparing them for the future.
That's the goal.
It's amazing.
It's exciting, thinking about empowering people with these skills.
Yeah.
Giving them the ability to not just navigate the digital world,
Mhm.
but to actually shape it.
We've covered a lot of ground here.
We have.
We talked about, defining digital literacy, all the key components, the real-world benefits, your book series idea, which I love.
Thanks.
You mentioned week 8 of your course focuses on the future of digital literacy.
Yeah.
So what are some things on the horizon? Like, what should people really be aware of?
Well, aside from AI, which we already talked about,
Right.
I think a big one is how the physical and digital worlds are like merging.
Oh, interesting. What do you mean by that?
Well, technologies like AR, VR,
Right.
they're becoming part of our everyday lives.
Mhm.
Smart homes, wearables, the metaverse, all of that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm already talking to my smart speaker like it's a person.
Exactly.
And those VR headsets, they're getting so realistic.
It's wild, right?
It is. So, okay, the question becomes,
Yeah.
what does digital literacy even look like when those lines are always blurring?
That's the big question, isn't it?
It is.
And it's one we're all going to have to figure out together. As technology keeps changing,
Right.
we're going to need to be able to navigate these hybrid spaces.
Well,
Understand how our actions affect both the physical and the digital, and critically evaluate information from like all these different sources.
oh, that's a lot to process.
It is a lot.
Like digital literacy is leveling up right in front of us.
It is.
And that's what makes it so interesting, right?
Absolutely. Constantly evolving. Full of challenges, full of opportunities.
But with all that said, what do you think is the most important thing that someone should take away from a digital literacy course?
Empowerment, definitely.
know.
Yeah, digital literacy, it empowers people,
Okay.
to learn, to work, to connect,
Yeah.
to like fully participate in this digital world.
Yeah.
It's about making sure everyone has the opportunity to thrive,
I love that.
regardless of their background or their tech skills.
It's not just about the skills, it's about agency.
Yeah.
It's about inclusion. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so to recap, we've talked about a lot today.
Yeah.
We talked about defining digital literacy, all the key components, understanding devices, social media. We even got a sneak peek at your course and your book series ideas.
Yeah, it's all coming together.
It is. It is. And then we talked about how digital literacy is always changing.
Always evolving. Yeah,
Right. So we have to keep learning and adapting as new technologies come up.
absolutely.
And speaking of new technologies, we dove into AI.
That's a big one.
It sounds like that's going to be a huge part of digital literacy moving forward.
It really is.
But then you brought up something that I hadn't really considered.
Oh, yeah.
This merging of the physical and digital worlds.
That's going to be a game changer.
It is.
So As those lines get blurrier, what are some things people should be thinking about?
Well, we need to start thinking differently about how we interact with information, with our devices, even with, like, physical spaces.
Imagine a world where your surroundings are always like augmented with digital information.
Oh, wow.
That's going to require us to be even more discerning, even more critical.
It's like we'll need new instincts to navigate this hybrid world.
Exactly.
Right.
We need to be more aware of the data we create, the biases in the information we receive,
Okay.
and the ethical implications of our actions in both the physical and digital.
Wow, that's a lot to think about.
It is, but it's exciting too.
It is exciting. It really is.
It just goes to show digital literacy is a journey, not a destination.
So true. So true.
We're always learning, always adapting.
Well, I think we've given our listeners a lot to think about today.
I hope so.
You know, they're on the right track with this course and book series idea.
Yeah, for sure.
So, any last words of wisdom as they continue on their digital literacy adventure?
Embrace the challenge, you know?
Yeah.
The digital world is full of possibilities.
Mhm.
And with a solid foundation in digital literacy, anyone can navigate it confidently
Right.
and make a real impact.
I love that. Well, that's it for our deep dive into digital literacy.
It's been a pleasure.
The pleasure was all mine. I hope you found it informative and inspiring.
I did.
Until next time, happy navigating.